Hello, comrades. It's Premier Rever, and I am back again, looking down at the city of Neuve Revergrad. And we have some money, which is good because I have a yacht on the Caspian Sea that needs to be paid for. Those beautiful models don't come cheap. Anyway, so anyhow, I think we're doing okay here. We haven't really, I've gone around the map in between the episodes, and I did one main thing, which is as I said I would in the last episode, I got all of this electrified. So we're really ready to start talking about electrifying some of these trains. And the main reason that that's a little bit urgent to me is that I don't really have enough. If I want them to do this route here, like the inner loop, I'll call it, the supply loop. I guess it's inner when you look at it from this way. If this is the center this would be the outer. There's no diesel fuel. To be honest, I only have one up here and one all the way down here, which was serving us fine when we only had this one line back and forth. So the problem is when I'm trying to send them to these things that are on this inner loop, like this guy's pulling in here and he's a diesel locomotive, the problem is in order for him to get here, he's got to go all over goofy places, and it's just cutting down on our efficiency. Not that efficiency is our biggest problem, but I think you get the idea. So I'd like to, over time, start replacing these trains here with trains that would be electric. So the only part of our track, the only issue I think we would have, well, this little bit's not electrified, but when we come up to about here, it's not electrified. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to electrify it, but I want to get, and I think I will, but what it means is that for now, I think the only trains that we can electrify are ones that go to this wood. And in addition, if we want these trains here to go to export corn, it may not be very efficient. We might have to put in a loop around or something, some way for them. If you look, there's almost no way to go from this loop to this loop and get on this track. Does that make sense? Like, we could possibly do a little swing around this way and it would make it easier. The guy could come back and see, you can't even do a circle around here. It just would be very difficult to get these corn trains over there. So, but I can live with that, right? Especially we might even, I don't know if I want to build any more diesel things, but they have a fuel thing right here. So if they're coming down and going this way, it's not so bad for them. They also have a loop around right up here. So to get to it, it's not the end of the world like it might be for some other trains. So that's the bottom line with our electrification, is that the vast majority of our trains could do that. Now, if you look, we have been selling some steel, though. This guy, I see, he's heading up to Molna now, and he still has 84 tons. But we'll get $1 million, almost $2 million for that. So if we let's take a real quick look at our economy for this year, and I'll show you not that one, for this year. So at this point, I've pretty much stopped everything going to or from dollars at this point. So whatever we have, just to simplify things, all of the purchasing we're doing, everything's coming from here. So when we take a look at the import of resources, meat, big one, clothes, 5 million. Power, we're still importing some power. What is this? I have no idea what that is other than a bug. But if we take a look at what we've exported, so that was 20 million worth, right? Well, we've exported 47 million's worth. So when we look at right now, we're selling off excess boards. So we finally got to the point that all of the new stations and the old stations, especially as far as these 4 items go, the main open haul items, they were exporting a little bits of those as we fill up. So they were getting a few bucks for boards, nothing worth getting too excited about. But steel, 21 million. Chemicals, 18 million. So now the 18 million is good. We kind of have a little bit of overkill with these 3 things, but we could really talk about ramping up and starting to export some electronics, which is what is the main, making plastic and making ultimately electronics is what we want to do with the chemicals, because they sell for even more money. So we'll see. As far as power, yeah, we're sort of debating. We're importing the power for now to keep things good, but as long as we have this money coming in, we should be in good shape. So I don't mind that, and we'll talk about fixing our power situation at some point in the future. All right, so what else? Well, at the very end of the last episode, I had an issue with the train that was picking up bricks. And where is my buddy right now? Let's go over to here. It's going to be one of these 4 or 5. Probably the last one. No, that's a steel one. Yep, I guessed it. I was going to open up the last one. No. Where is the brick guy? Where did our brick guy go? I don't know. That's kind of a mystery still. Yeah, we'll need to find a brick guy eventually. Yeah, he's not in there. Did he get hung up or something? And I sent him... where would I have sent him? Chemsaw. The only other place... Oh yeah, you know what? The brick guy must have gotten... Yeah, let's get him started. And this is our... Some of these guys got jammed up because when I was doing the track electrification. I'm glad I went and wanted to talk to you guys about that. Yeah, so this guy doesn't have anything, so you can... Come on, start. So he can go up there. And I haven't been in too much of a hurry. So there you go. So our brick guy, by the way, all I did... This was the point I was trying to get to. All I did was send him back to the depot and send him on his... Well, I'd already sent him back to the depot at the end of last episode. Once he got there, I sent him out again, and he picked up bricks from here. So I don't really understand. I don't really understand what happened there. So we'll just have to chalk it up to a bit of a bug where he just decided not to pick up bricks. I didn't change his route at all. I didn't do anything. So, but I did. Since I mentioned that at the very end of an episode, I wanted to make sure you guys knew about it. Another thing that I did. And I want to take a look and go over this with you guys, is in the last episode, we increased all these oil rigs. And if we look, to this day, we still don't have a backup. And it's been, months in game time since the end of the last episode. So we should now, in theory, be producing 4 times as much oil or fuel and bitumen with our oil. So we have plenty of workers, and there's really not much more room to expand this refinery. So that's good to know, because it is what it is. And one of the things I was thinking of is expanding this further, but there's no point in putting another refinery in. Now, if we take a look, the good news is that we have a good amount of fuel in here and bitumen. We almost might be getting foolish on bitumen. Yeah, see, we need that because that bitumen train was stuck in that depot. Need to get him going, but that's good. He's heading back down here to pick up some more bitumen. How is our fuel? See, our fuel is still a bit low. And one of the things that's happened when we looked at our economy thing here for this year, exports, if you notice, we don't have any fuel and bitumen this whole year being exported. And the problem is, it's not really a problem, it's just, if you look at this, each one of these tanks holds 900 tons of fuel. So it's going to put fuel in here, and then it's going to put fuel in here. Just the pump will pump it from this one to this one, and then they can come pick it up if they want. Same thing with our bitumen. Well, each of these holds 900. The trains typically hold around 600. So just to fill this up would take about 3 train loads. And then at the same exact time, we did this, not here, we did the same thing here. So let's see where we're at with this one. See, there's our fuel, not quite filled yet, but we're getting there. So like with one more trip, when the train comes in, we're going to come pretty close to filling this guy up, and then we'll finally get a fuel export. Now let's look at our bitumen over here. See, we're still not even filled with bitumen, though this one's practically full, right? But still, that's going to be another trip and a half or whatever just to get this filled up, and we are using some of it. So does that make sense? And combined with everything else that was going on as far as filling up all of these, so whether they were new or old, it's still caused a problem, right? So it's like in the fact that we weren't getting those exports. And at some point, yeah, what do we got going on here now? Why are you... How are you told to wait? Yeah, don't wait here. What are you... There's a few trucks I had. Yeah, we don't want you waiting because you're clogging up the works. But that's another question and thing that I want to get done. Probably on a bigger priority is get rid of these trucks. So what are you guys doing? Alcohol? Yeah, we definitely don't want to hold up our alcohol and our electronics. So one of the things we could definitely talk about doing as our money goes up is getting a pretty small train to do the electronics and the mechanical components and the electrical components. Because I think we at least can cut down on the amount of truck trips that are going all over the map with that. But before that, what I would like to do is a little bit of designing and figure out a good place. I haven't really looked at it too much, but we have fuel here, but we don't have an actual bus station. So, I mean, a fuel station. So I'd like to see about where we could get in here and up at the new car manufacturing. So let's go to here. Oops, there he is. All right, so let's see. Can we get... Yeah, that guy's going to be... I really like to kind of fit you in right there. No. Yeah, see, I don't think that's really going to work. Now, can we get you in this way? Yeah, let's just see. Can we... You know what? Well, we'll do an asphalt road because we're... Can we get you... Let's try something a little bit different than that. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's get this guy before we end up moving him to work on that. All right, so we'll have a fuel station there. There's power right there. I love to build fuel stations when they have no power for some reason. And that'll just help. You know, a lot of trucks are going to be coming to this area, and it'd just be nice if they had an extra place to fill up. And one of the things I did was I went in here and I cut down on the number of vehicles that were coming to this. I realized that with having built those new depots, that some vehicles were better to go to other places, which has a twofold effect. The fact that this was not filling up was because we were using so much of it, and when this train sits there waiting, it's sort of depriving these trucks of fuel. I think I went over that before. So the fact that the fact that we're going to take more out of here, less out of here, is kind of good for that process. I mean, you could argue that we should probably take all the trucks off of this and just have them fueled up by train, but I think this is slightly more efficient. Now let's come up here and do the same thing. Now we're going to have, for the most part, other than during construction, most of the trucks are going to come in and out of this region. All right, they're not, I mean, yes, we're going to do it for this, but the depot, the construction offices should have that. Now we do have a fuel depot here, but I'm thinking of putting one more over in this area. And I'm thinking, what is this? Is that just yeah, it's just a false road, I think. Unless it's yeah, you can't, I really hope they fix that. Let's just do this. Make sure there's nothing else actually there. No. All right, so now let's take this. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting a fuel stop here. So that way the trucks that are going in and out of town will have a place here to stop, maybe on this road. Just a little bit more efficient. Right across from the firehouse. I don't know that the fire trucks need to fill up much, but what is... do we have a power line right there? All right, so let's assign this guy and the other guy have a lot of work to do. And that's our firehouse. I always forget to build our firehouse. And I don't think I've assigned this guy to too much. No, you know what? We're just going to get him. And I do have him working on this construction office. But we're just going to have him assist with some of these things. And yeah, assist with that. And I want you to assist with this. This. No, we don't want to build that. There's our sports. Assist with that. Yeah, so we probably want to get. Yeah, that's fine. These guys, just forgive bringing supplies in, if nothing else. We really don't have these done yet. We'll have to get them worked on. But I kind of want to get some people in here because we need to get this fire station going before things start burning down. And then the other thing I would like to do is think about a good place to put a bus stop. I don't like to put the bus stops too close to the center of town if I plan on people walking to everything. But I'm thinking if we put it out over here, that would be kind of good enough. So I think I'm just going to put in, well, right here would probably be a good place for an inline one, right? It would cut these guys off temporarily. Well, no, I could do this. And then we could come in here and say, so can we put an inline bus stop? No, we need to go a little bit more. I hate to demolish this kind of road. It's such a pain to build it. Nope. All right, we got to delete that whole road. Yeah, see, I'm not sure, but I do like the idea of saving the space in town. I think it's worth the extra effort. There we go. Okay, so we'll have a bus stop in town, and then we need to do, for us to be able to fire this up, we're also going to need to get, we could take people directly to the firehouse, but I would like to get a bus stop over here somewhere that these people could walk to do the concrete and that. And I think it would be better, I think we can get a small bus platform in here. Well, that's awful close. Hopefully I can get a walking path through there. Yeah, so that's, I wish there was some, can we get a walking path through here? Yes. Come on. Okay, so let's delete one section of that back. There we go. Good, this guy has, yeah, so let's do like this. Building in the way, I can live with that. All right, so they could start building those. Oop, not dumper. We don't want the dumper. So we'll get him to build this and this. And then we'll get, yeah, he's getting a little bit lower on stuff. Let's see, what are the priorities? Yeah, he's already assigned to do the firehouse. Yeah, and I was hoping to get this done. Yeah, so we'll have to get that done so we can get to this power. Okay. So there we go. So we're in good shape. So we'll have people that can come to here. And I think, you know, I want to say that's the last bits of what we'll need to do. We'll want to get some more supplies, and this isn't just about building these, but this will definitely be good if we get ahead of all the other constructions. But I think we have a school. There we go. Our sports is done. There's our pub. We'll have to get some supplies up here pretty shortly, but I wouldn't even mind. Well, we'll have to get some supplies. We could probably purchase it until we get this completed, but we'll see. Pretty shortly here we can move some people in. So then the other thing is to come back over to here and talk about getting a bus that can get people to these two. And I would assume we'd put it maybe over here. Let's see about just a regular small bus platform. Can we get there? You know what? Let's do a little. Yeah, I don't level too much, but that should be good. You know what? I want to do it this way so that I think we're better off with the footpath a little bit closer to that asphalt plant. Yeah, let's do that. And then really, yeah, see, we're not going to be able to go through there. Yeah, I think they're just going to have to walk down that road. Hopefully they'll, I guess we could do this. Oh, can you come out this way? No. Wait, this guy could get there. Can I get there from, what is this? Yeah, that's pretty necessary, but I could probably go. That's really goofy. Yeah, they definitely like them some footpaths, so we're gonna go with that, even though I'm not real sure. I'm not real comfortable with what happened around here. You know, as a matter of fact, let's get rid of. Yeah, I don't like whatever that just did. Yeah, I think that's actually. There we go. I feel slightly more confident in that. I don't know if they're going to take that goofy path, but then I guess we should get one. There. There we go. So now, oops, let's commit to that. And then let's get this guy. Start working on that, and I'll have to try to remember to come back over here. And I like to assign these things manually, though. Probably, yeah. I don't want to put him on auto search. I don't like auto search. I think I might have missed one. Yeah, that one doesn't attach. Yeah, okay. So that should get them working on everything. Yeah, we just have to get like that paved and then rollered. And we should be able to come back shortly and just get the rest of that. So that should be, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, we should have power. There's a power thing. Good. So that should get us to be able to fire this up. And then I think what we could do is talk about getting rid of this one. Now, one of the things I don't like that I did over here is I don't have a storage yard. And that means we might end up if we're doing a lot of construction in this area, I might end up just parking one of the trains on here and taking the other trains off of this loop so that it doesn't have far to go. So I think if we just parked a train here, we could get away with not having a storage. But I definitely should have probably put some kind of a storage on here, but I didn't. Okay, so let's just see. I think we can make that work. All right, let me take a look at my list here. Yeah, so we've got gas stations, we've got buses, and yeah, that's good. So now, our money really didn't go up, and I don't know 100% why, but let's see, how is our fuel? Okay, we picked up bitumen, so that bitumen guy should be running around the map. What do we got going on here? Yeah. All right, let us get rid of, you really want to try to, yeah, that should be fine. This, yeah, see Yeah, see, what should be happening here is if we treat this as an intersection, we need to... Right, and then if we're going to do this, we should get rid of this. And this should be a chain. Come on, there we go. Now, one of the things I went around the map and did, and I can't say that it hasn't helped, it seems a little bit less jittery. As I went in, see where we have these purple nodes that like are really kind of pointless? I was putting in the signals and then deleting them. Now notice that this one didn't fix itself because there was a train on that track. But if there's no train on the track, you can get rid of those little purple things and have less nodes. Like it, I don't know if that helps, but it certainly can't hurt. And I literally went around and fixed hundreds of them. And it seems like my map is less laggy at this point. Yeah, so the question is, should we... See, the problem really is these two being too close. And I almost think that we'd be better off bringing these two together over here into one exit than having this whole conglomeration. But I don't plan on worrying about that quite yet. That's the kind of improvements we can make when we have a bigger problem, as long as trains aren't jamming up for right now. You are a fuel guy going back to oil trawl, very good. And eventually we'll buy him a new... Yeah, see, the problem I didn't like about that is... Now, what is this guy? Is he a chain? I don't like the way he stopped. No, you're a regular... Oh, because the train was in that section. And this is a chain. And it's going to feed off of that signal there. Yeah, so don't go into here until somebody... So you have a place to go to get out of the mess. Now this... Yeah, that's fine. Okay, well, we're not jammed up. So this guy's going back to hopefully get some more fuel. We didn't sell any fuel because we still have to finish filling up those. But once we get to selling fuel and bitumen, we're going to be selling some steel minus what we use for construction. And I just think that we're going to be in really decent financial shape, if not good financial shape. All right, so since I have some faith, I would like to talk about a relatively small train or two that would be electronic or electrical, and it would come up to here and pick up electrical components and take them to the various warehouses around the map. So let's just take a count. I would like to get it to be big enough. I don't think we need a huge amount of these things spread out all over the map when it comes to electrical components or electronics. And we're going to have in the future, this is going to be a supply depot. I plan on another one there, so there's two. And then we probably will end up with another one over here, 3, 4, 5. Right, so even if we said, and then we'd say, well, how much of this stuff do we really want to keep over here? If we take a look, like what's a realistic amount? 40? So if we had 5 times 40, we want a train that could haul 200 at the most. And that means if everybody was empty, this train could refill. Now, the other question is, how much do we have in here? Only 150. So I don't really think there's necessarily a point in getting a train that can haul more than 150, right? Because it'll come in here, fill up, and then be on its way. So let's see. And 200 being the max, we're not going to use all of the electrical components and all of those every time. So let's come here, because why not? And we have, what are you? You're a diesel locomotive. You know what? I just want to sell you. I think I accidentally double clicked. So let's go over here to electrical locomotive. And it, like I said, really small. So what is the cheapest one? I don't really care about the speed that much. This one is 4.9 million. Yeah. I think we're going to get I think we're going to get 2 of these. Do we want let's get the red one, right? What is the difference? Yeah, this one has more power and it's red, and red is like Soviet color. So let's go ahead and we're going to get 2 of those. And we're going to get a cargo wagon. So this would hold 23. Well, actually, these don't hold that many electronic components or electronics. That's why I bought two. One for the electronics, one for the electrical components. So let's talk about, this is 23. What is the difference here? Why are they? I don't know. Must be a rounding thing. It doesn't really show you the decimal points. So this one would hold 24. Yeah, I think that's our only. Yeah, I mean, I guess we might as well get it's sort of in the middle of the price. I don't know. I don't see any empty weight. Yeah, I mean, this one holds one more ton. So if we did 1, 2, 3, 4, we're down to 12 million. There we go. So now how many is that holding? 50. Yeah, let's get. So that would be, if each one of these, I think, given the money that we don't have, I think each of these would be a good start. So this is all we're going to be able to afford for right now. And once we get these set up, that's everything I had on the list to do. Besides we're doing construction things. Oh, no, one other thing we could do and talk about while we wait for these guys. So let's open these two up and close this. So what we want, let's just say this guy to do is come into Electronville warehouse. And then this guy, let's make sure we get the right one. It's this one. Yeah, this guy's going to do our electronics. Same deal with the numbers. And again, I'm just making up 40 in each area anyway, so I feel pretty confident that this is. So we're going to, just so we know which one is which, this guy's going to be electrical components. All right, and this guy is going to be electronics. Okay, so let's move and then head over here. And so even though we don't have it set up at this point, well, why don't we set this one up that we do have? And I'm going to, let's put, well, we're never going to get fabric in here, I don't think. Right, and then what we'll do is we'll increase the electrical components till it's about 60, because then when we do electronics, going to bring it back down. Yeah, let's bring this one back down. There we go. 3940. Yeah, that's fine. 4739. I'd rather, well, I don't know. It doesn't make much difference. That's fine. Right? So what we'll do is we'll bring in that many tons into here. But at least it's set up. Building is without power supply. So that may be another issue, but hopefully these guys will just go on their way. So they're going to come out of there, and then they're going to go to this one. There it is. And then unload electronics. The other thing I want these guys to do is, for now, they're going to be the only train, so I do want them to wait. And I don't see us really needing more than this. All right, so that's going to be the one. Then we can talk about, once they get established, we can talk about trucks. And then the next thing we'll do is send them down to here, which we should already be set up, right? There's electrical components, mechanical components. We have, make sure we have electronics set up at each one. Yep, there we go. So what is this? Yeah, see, I did the same thing with fabric here. Let's increase that to 37. And there we go. 35, that's a good number. All right, so that we should be able to drop off, oops. here. There we go. Same thing with this guy. Nope. Fire extinguished. Okay. Well, that's good. I didn't even know we had a... Oh, you know what? I think sometimes when you put that down there, let's put them up here. There you go. And then last and not least, I want him to come to here. Let's double check. Yep, 39 tons mechanical components, 40 electronics, electrical components. All right, so let's, oops, I'm gonna come here. Now we can tweak this further in the future. And then last but not least, and a momentous day for our small, the fact that we have steel, and it actually takes steel to make these, and more than you would think in a sense, and I didn't want to use up any excess steel. All right, so we don't want to load, we just want to unload anything. So there we go. So that should be distributing to the 3 supply stations that we have now. And like I said, I definitely want to get at least one more of those over here. And then once, oops, I didn't start that guy. Which is unfortunate, because now we'll have to come back over to here, Pershing North, no. That's Detroit. I'll figure out where I'm at on my own map eventually. There we go. And you can start as well. So let's just keep these guys here so we can see. But this should be a pretty, if we look at the pricing here, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but most of those stations were pretty much filled up. So I do want to be slow about this because it's going to have a whole impact on producing these things. And do we have enough? And we really should talk about getting a steel supply train and a plastic supply train and stop doing this with trucks. So like I said, I want to see what the impact is. All right, so having said that and gotten that done, we got another boost of money. So the other thing that I would like to talk about doing, and I'm pretty sure I electrified this track, yes, is doing the same thing for this warehouse with the mechanical components. So why don't I take a little bit of a break and then just, I'll go around the map, make sure things are working okay, but I don't know how much of that. I'm just going to do the same exact thing, maybe in a slightly different order, but we're going to drop off mechanical components to our new distribution points. And then eventually what I'll have to do is go out and, find the trucks for these 3 things and just start figuring out where the best place for them to pick up their parts is. So we'll do a little bit more efficiency rerouting with the trucks, which I might do in the break. Sort of depends on what happens. I want to let time keep playing. So I will talk to you guys in a few minutes. Decided to take a little bit of a train ride. Let's see, can we get a little better angle? So we are on our electronics train and we are heading up to Molna. And let's see, what do we have? We have nothing left on there, which is okay. But just to give you guys an idea, this train started out with 11.5 million. Now it topped off these warehouses, 2 of which I think were empty and the other one took a good amount. So as you may have guessed, let's see, does it tell us? Yeah, we get 90. Oh wait, where is it? 96 tons of electronics. So we're not going to export anything this time, but I can almost guarantee you that next time we will. Let's take a look at this one. Is this the right one? Yeah. So it only dropped off a little bit here, but at the other ones it must have dropped off a lot more. So let's go see the last one. It did have some in there up until, there we go. See, it must have just worked out to where it doesn't have any left, but at the same time we're pretty flush with electronics. Now let me just make sure there's not something else goofy going on here. I would have expected him to have some. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we've got 2 with electronics. Well, that's okay. No, it's not really okay, is it? Yeah, I don't really want to. Yeah, what is going on with this one? Yeah, I don't really want this one doing whatever the heck. So yeah, this is, let's see, okay, that's this one, then we have this one, and then we have this one. So this one's doing food, and this one's doing electrical, mechanical, and then we don't have one doing clothing, right? So let's up this fabric, because that will never come in here, because why not? Then I'm going to do minus, so that gets to 100%. And then this one should do, let's say, 50 tons of clothing, and let's do clothing and electronics, because they kind of go hand in hand with the stores. And again, about 40 tons of each of those. And then I'll come back and deal with this off camera, but I'll probably have to, I have a couple trucks that, and I need to redo these things anyway, a little bit of grunt work, so to speak, so that this one, we don't want any electronics in here anymore. And we'll have electrical and mechanical components in this one, and then we'll have food in this one. But we also need alcohol, don't we? Yeah, so let's up. Do we already have alcohol in this one? No. How about, yeah, that's that one. Yeah, so we could use alcohol in one of these. Because eventually here we're going to put in an alcohol trade. Maybe not today, but maybe we will today. And alcohol, I'd want a little bit more. Yeah, that's, well, one more. There you go. 75 tons of alcohol, electronics, clothes will be in this one, along with electronics. So we have too many electronics in here, so we can rearrange some of this stuff just using trucks in the near future. And I'll straighten that out. I have a few trucks that are back over there. So there we go. So I think we have everything we would need in this distribution center. And unfortunately for now, that's okay. Well, I might even just send those up to the export from here because it's pretty close and we'll get the money. What is this? This is our mechanical components. And how many of those do we have? We still have 100 mechanical components for 4.3 million. So that's nice. Let's, what was this one? Yeah, electronics. And then the other one, how is this guy doing? Okay, he got done, but just so you know, he had 12 million. So I'm not sure that he had anything left either, but what I have is, let's shrink this down. I have a few trucks that were going, yeah, from here. Well, they're not closed haul. So see, yeah, these are open. So I need to get a couple closed haul. So what I'm going to do, and like I said, I don't think this stuff is that exciting, and you guys can imagine, I'm going to come up to here, and I'm going to see all related vehicles. And we have quite a few that are going from here and distributing electronic components all over the map. Like this one's gone to South Brzezinsk. So what I would say is that this one shouldn't come all the way up here anymore. Let's make sure we get the right one. Yeah, so this is where we'll have our electronic components. So I'm going to come into here and say add a stop, load, and this will just cut down on the length of his trip. And then we'll get rid of this one. And he is waiting here to unload the rest of his components. And it's just a matter of going through and doing that with all of these and just figuring out where's the best location. Some of them may stay going to here, but a lot of them won't. And then doing the same thing with the mechanical components. And I might end up with some extra trucks. Just because, and if I don't, and then what I'll do is if I have some extra covered hauls, do we have any in this depot? No. Is I'll just get the other stuff out of these manually and just maybe export them or just decide whatever's the best thing to do at that point. But I would also like to talk about, well, let's talk about two different things and then we'll call it an episode. These might take a little while, but every time I've looked, we've been really good with people. So we added an extra train, and with cutting down on this, I think we're in really good shape. And here's really what I think happened. It's not that these trains were going to multiple stops. If you look, all of these are only stopping as far as getting people in at this one stop. Like they're just bypassing, oops, thank you, autosave. They're just bypassing this altogether because this is the workers that are going over to the bakeries. This is the workers that are going to the steel or to the coal mines. But what was happening is when we added these trains that are coming in this way, two things. One, they're crossing right here, which could slow things down. Like when this guy comes in, he turns this whole intersection red, which would force a train to stop here. Now, when this guy comes around, he's going to stop at this platform. So if this guy were coming with a little bit different timing, just the fact that he had to drive by here, he had to wait for this guy to load up. So the bottom line is if you ever have a situation where you have the desire to do this, I would definitely say, no, don't do this way. Like, don't have 4 of them in a row unless you plan on that train stopping at all 4 of them, because if you just have the one stopping here and then he has to wait, like this guy's going to come up. Like, picture there was another train coming up here from over by the coal mines. He would have to wait for this guy to load up, which actually takes, a little while. And then this guy does stop at both of these stops to make sure he's absolutely full before he goes over to here and drops off his people. So when we added those extra 3 trains, it just jammed this whole thing up, and it was taking that extra hour to get these guys going. So at this point, it seems like they're doing pretty well, and we are producing at least enough coal for now, and we have a nice flow and a spacing of them. I haven't really done anything since those episodes, so the train thing's working fine. I think that I appreciate the suggestions on getting a bus over here, but at the same time, I just honestly don't think it's necessary. We have trains frequent enough. They're just dropping off, they're smart enough to drop off about the right number of people that you need. So if we look at how many people come out of here, it's not going to be a huge number that get wasted. See, there you go. Look, he let like 2 people out, right? And so it's pretty good. I mean, it's working out pretty well, I think. How are we doing here? Yeah, see, we're doing well with the coal, and the coal train is going back and forth, so we use a good amount of it, and we need to ramp up the number of people. I see that we have 2 steel trains waiting, and this I really wish wasn't the case, but I guess it doesn't really matter. But like this train was probably here first, and it's got 188 tons, but then as soon as this one pulls in, it starts filling this one, which I'd rather they just finished filling this one before they started filling this one. But like, that's wish upon a star, right? There you go. So that's a little bit off the subject, but there we go. So we're making steel more than we did before because we're still producing pretty good amounts of steel here. Now I'm curious to see how that affects us because we're now exporting from here with the mechanical components. So I'm kind of curious to see the impact that the train has. And then these, like we said before, these electronics need steel as well. So we need steel here for the electrical components, and we need mechanical components for this. So now that we've ramped up this, we're actually using more steel. Like I said, eventually I'd like to get trains into here. Let's let our money build up to a real comfortable pace. That's why this is sort of a laid back, let the good times roll episode. where you can just take a breath after the last few. All right, so the last thing I'd like to talk about before I end, NATO is against getting rid of Farminsky. And talk about a couple reasons why I think I still may shut her down, even if we don't delete it. Yeah, I understand this is a town. The biggest reason I built Farminsky was to get food going, because we needed more food than we were able to make at the time in Old Revergrad. But I also just needed at the time construction people over here, right? Like the next construction was all the way over here, was Kameen at the time. So I just needed to get people into this general area so that it was possible to even construct Lambriska, because it would have been too far to bring workers. And then in addition, it helped us work on this tunnel and get over into here at that point too. Though some of that was done, some of that was done by the people over in Itupafalu up there as well. So, it definitely served its purpose. Now, there's this hilly area, which of course we could level or whatever, but there's really not a huge amount of room right here. And what I would like to do is get a real proper slaughterhouse. Oh wait, one last thing while we're over here. We're not producing enough corn right now for the food necessarily. Or if we are, it's like real borderline. If we come up here and take a look, like these are just now getting filled after all of this time. Right, zero right there, 141. So it's like all of these farms are going just to running our food factories. Now, if we take a look at our economy, as far as the exports goes, well, this year, we're not exporting any food. We're using up the vast majority of the food. Now, I'm not saying that we're not going to back up eventually, but I kind of took a look a couple times, not some extensive study, and I found that these trains are not coming back empty, but they're coming back close to empty. So at this point, we're using up the food from these factories at this point, and we really don't have any extra crops here to start producing meat. And it's one of the reasons I'm making this, we'll call it outer line, or it's not really a loop, this loop here, is because I want to come down to here and make Moscow. And if you look at the area that we have here, picture somewhere around where Moscow's written, we'll have to work it out. We'll have a proper town with a university of its own and just what I'll call a real proper town. And then we'll have a number, I don't know, 8, 12 of these. Let's come here. Let's go to agriculture. Where is the meat livestock farm? So that while they don't take up a huge amount of room, you can picture trying to put, let's just say we went with 12. And the reason I'm saying 12 is because I think we can hook these guys up properly to, like a grain storage, and then have the grain storage hooked up to a train station. So you imagine the kind of room that's going to take. Maybe we'd have a line of them right here. There's just no way you're going to be able to do that around Farminsky. And one slaughterhouse can handle, so that's the other point. I don't want to max out a slaughterhouse, but at some point over here we would have a slaughterhouse that would feed in all of these 8 or 12 livestock farms into one big food processor or slaughterhouse. I guess you could call it a food processor, but if you look, you could use 250 livestock at maximum capacity, and each one of these farms produces 5. So, I'd like to take good advantage of it, even if it seems like a bit of overkill right now. Much like our food, and again, I know we're not at 100% capacity over here. It's not as much overkill as you think when your population is 32,000. So there, I hope that helps. I hope that explains why I don't really know what to do with Farminsky. I mean, there's a part of me that's nostalgic about it, but that's all it is. There's really just these people at this point are just sucking up stuff and they're mostly unemployed. There's no construction that I plan to do around here. And by the way, all of this is also why I'm picturing a train track going over this way with a series of farms over here, which could feed in, they'll have to go through this tunnel, which is a little bit shared, but then they would feed in and I'd make sure that they could get to this loop down here without having to go through here. Does that make sense? Even if we have to redo this a little bit or whatever we have to do. Does that make sense? So that we could then bring in more crops into this loop here. And then I would end up making this, it's a two-way track. So I'd make it its own loop where we'd also be taking advantage of another farm here. So much like I have a conveyor belt of coal that I'm trying to build, I would have, in a sense, a conveyor belt of corn, because over here we are producing, even with our inefficient trucks, we haven't fired up this other vodka thing that we built. We have plenty of corn for the vodka down here. So if I could picture getting another whole farm over here and then maybe two more up there that I was pointing at, where we would then have this, trains coming into here, picking up crops, going to the distillery, coming back around and dropping off in Moscow. And on the other side of things, we could have, the trains here picking up crops. We could also have more farms up here picking up crops. They could go to the bakery, whatever our priority was, or, we could put different trains on slightly different paths, and then they would drop off to Moscow. So Moscow might be the last place that crops get dropped off, but it would actually sort of be real central to my crop plans. Remember, picture a big farm right here. We've already got it half designed. And then picture this is sort of in the middle of those two. And then if we had a little bit of supplementary, does that make sense? And that really doesn't fit for what Farminsky is or can do. I think I'm better off just moving these people over to Moscow, or if we build more houses here to ramp up our steel, which I definitely want to do, why don't I just move those people into here? Whether I actually abandon Farminsky or not, or destroy it, is a different question for the ages, but I really don't see a massive need for the people. If we do more construction around here, I would up the number of people in Chemsol a little bit, but we can get some excess people from Chemsol if we did decide to do some construction here. Like, we really don't need these two cities right next to each other. Eventually, I might want to even try to get a university over here. But I also have plans of ramping this up. So I kind of wish I left a little bit more room for Chemsol. And we may end up doing some fancy stuff with trying to get a university. I might get rid of these power lines so we can, I don't know if we could fit a university in there. I kind of doubt it. Yeah, so I don't, about the only place I might be able to do it is here. And then I kind of want to talk about getting some of these trains out of this portion, like this chemical train that ends up going up to here. It really could just be, it doesn't need to go back over the bridges, right? It could just come up this way and join up and head on its way. Anyway, so I hope that helps. I mean, it's not that I have anything against Farminsky. I just honestly, when you picture what could I fit in here, it's sort of boxed in with things. Like, and again, I kind of want to get rid of these. I mean, I'm willing to put up with Lumbriska, but I could build a university when I want to off the edges of Lumbriska here, and I'd be okay with that. Like I said, I do have an issue with Chemsol, but then, it's just Farminsky is just not fitting into the plans, and yeah. So anyway, I know it's a bit of a waste in the grand scheme of things, but we'll see. So there we go. So that's my thoughts on, again, and I'm not real anxious to get rid of Farminsky. It's just that I just honestly don't see the purpose if we're going to do a proper livestock farm. So if you guys have a suggestion for what we could do or produce here that makes any sense, yeah, I'm willing to listen. But just know that most likely I'm going to move these people out, whether it's to Moscow or just to get more people up here making us more steel. That's probably what's going to happen. And don't forget, we need people over here too pretty shortly. So yeah, there we go. All right, well, in the next episode, I promise that we will start doing a little bit more designing again. How are we doing? Oh, look at that. Yep, we've got people here, or we got this done, even though we don't have power to it. You don't need that for doing the leveling. And I think we could get between, I've already moved in a couple bulldozers and excavators over here. So we could start talking about designing a little further over this way. And at some point here, we're going to be able to start really ramping up making cars. Here, let's do this one last thing that I thought I wanted to do. I want to take all the vehicles out of here real quick and move them up to, where did I go? There we go. Yeah, see, we're getting a lot of them in here. So let's see, what do we have? We already have a roller and a paver. So we don't need a roller and a paver. Do we have that in here? No. But I see one concrete truck there. All right, so let me just move. I might rearrange these at some point in the future. Game save messed me up. Yeah, this guy had quite a few mixers. Let's just send another mixer over to this depot. And flatbeds, I see one in there. Let's put one more. Was that a dumper? Yeah, how many dumpers? We always use more dumpers. Covered haul. Got a covered haul. Let's put a covered haul on each. Eventually I'll run out of room here. How about buses? Nah, we don't have any buses. So for now, I think I'm going to put... Yeah, the buses in that one. Crane. Can I do that? No. Okay, let's go eyeball. There we go. Let's head back up there. So the excavator, even though... Oh, you know what? Let's see. Can we get that excavator in the other... Where were we? Let's do that. Can I get this guy... Yes. Okay, good. All right, so what I'm going to do with that guy, send him... Where is it? Further up to here. And then this guy to there. Good. So that should give us plenty of more construction people, and I'll have to work out some more details, but I'll fiddle around with things on the map in between the episodes, like, you know, working on the truck deliveries and so forth. But you can see our money's going up nicely. We've spent millions of dollars on trains, and we have millions more. So I won't do too much other than maybe, like I said, figure out which trucks are coming to here. Yeah, this is going to be a problem too. But that's okay. That's the exact kind of thing. Like, I want to redo this truck's routes, and I need to try to figure out a good way of doing it, because they're just, the train's now stealing... And we're not getting to each of these individual things. So we will eventually run out of electronics. So I need to get working on that. So for example, you know, this guy's going to Tagliati Road Cargo Station, which is this one probably. All right, so we're dropping off electronics for the shopping center. So I need to make sure that instead of going to here, it would make sense that he goes to... Yes, there. Make sure we had the right one. And that's where we need to get the rest of this. There we go. Load. Yeah, you know what? I think you should wait. Oops. Right. So I'll just go around and make those kind of improvements. And and we'll just see what happens. So some of them may end up coming from here, some may not. Same thing with the electronics, same thing with the mechanical components. And when I'm done that, and things are completely settled, I hope to have tens of millions of more dollars that we could talk about electrifying a lot of these trains. And then there's just still a bunch of little nitpicking things that we need to do. But I better get going because I think we're well over the normal hour. So I hope you guys have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.